I am so glad it finally feels like spring today. I have been waiting for this because my mind is definitely already wandering to summer. And of course, what am I going to do with my boys this summer? I am thinking about places and trips, spaces where we can breathe a little bit easier, connect with our people, and recharge. For me, one of those places has been Unitarian Universalist Camp. Let's see if we can get this computer to work.
You need to hit the remote, the TV on stand.
The TV went down?
Okay, just so stand by.
Okay. All right, bear with me 1 second. Inputs. Oh, no. We had this working before.
We did something, right?
I did. Oh, it just happened. There we are. We're just going to leave it like that. It'll be fine. Okay. Thank you, Georgia. Let's see if we can get that to work. Because today I wanted to share with you my experience at 2 UU family camps that I've been to, Cersei and UMAC. Let's go to that second slide. It's okay. It's on full screen. Okay, we'll leave it on that. All right, Cersei and UMAC. I wanted to share my experience because even though camp is totally awesome and everyone should go, but because camp shows us something about who we are as Unitarian Universalists when we live our values fully. There are other camps and retreat centers as well, and if you peek at the UUA website, there is a listing of camps nationwide. Unirondax in Lowville, New York is our closest one. Many of you have asked me about my experience at Cersei this past summer, and we never really have time to get into the weeds. So today's talk is part infomercial, part fellowship. I was chatting with my friend Jean in preparation for today's talk, and she said there's 3 kinds of UUs. Those who only go to their congregations, those who only go to conferences, and then some who are a blend of both. So even if camp is not for you, I hope that today's talk sheds some light on a part of Unitarian Universalism that you might not be familiar with. For me, attending camp was the embodiment of the UU principles. I had been attending services for a few years before I went to camp, but it's where I went from I go to UU to I am UU. For 1 week, you live in intentional community with other Unitarian Universalists. It's a container. It is a safe space to deepen our practice of active love, pluralism, and inclusivity. Unplugging from the wider world and plugging into the intentional community deepens our relationship with our faith and with one another. We are a much larger community, and sometimes in our own little congregations, we can forget that. At camp, pluralism and equity come together to make a space for transformation. So, how does this magic happen? We're going to start with the logistics. This is the infomercial part of our sermon. Both camps took place at college campuses. Cersei was at Oberlin College in Ohio, and UMAC was at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. You're living in the dorm. You're eating in the cafeteria. You're hanging out on the quad. We brought our bikes to get around campus a little bit easier. Workshops are a big part of the experience. So for 1 week, you are back at school trying to get to class on time. Each year, camp has a theme, and over the course of the week, the theme unfolds through sermons, songs, and seminars. You start your mornings bright and early. Breakfast is available in the cafeteria. The food is fantastic, plentiful, and every dietary need has been very thoughtfully considered. Then comes morning worship. All campers, young and old, are together for service. And yeah, you can bring your coffee. Then we separate. The children and the youth go off to their own respective RE programs, and the adults stay in the sanctuary for the theme talk. There's one minister who's dedicated to the theme for the entire week, and each day the conversation builds. So this past summer at Cersei, the theme was Live a Life on Fire. After the theme talk, maybe another cup of coffee, and then you've got to get to class. So ahead of camp, during registration, the adults have an opportunity to sign up for a workshop. This is a 90-minute class each day for 5 days. And choosing is hard because there's many interesting options, but you can only choose one. So this is the full list of the workshops that were offered at Cersei this past summer. You have plenty of options. There's a Buddhist study group. Grief is Good. I ended up taking the environmental justice. It was about, caring for the environment, but in the anxiety that kind of also comes with that too. It was an excellent, excellent workshop. And if there's a workshop that you wanted to take but you couldn't, the instructors are often in the cafeteria. They're campers too. You can pick their brains there. Or you might meet somebody who's taking the class and you can talk to them about it. Meals are meant to be shared. It's an incredibly welcoming space. Many people return year after year, and when a new face arrives, someone always invites you to pull up a chair. Cersei had a dedicated first year's table where people would come over and say hello, ask you where you're from, tell me about your congregation. And by the end of the week, I had graduated from the first year's table and made some of my own friends. The afternoons are for all ages. I hope we can see that. This is the afternoon schedule. The top section is all ages and the bottom section is age specific. So like water play, geared for younger kids, while the IPA workshop, that's definitely only 21 plus. And if you miss tie-dye one day, you can catch it on the next. The theme talk discussion that's down here, that's a smaller, more intimate seminar, diving deeper into that morning's talk. There are so many opportunities for connection and fun. And what's not listed here, but is always available, is an optional nap workshop. Because camp is fun, but it can be a lot, and rest is absolutely encouraged. So after afternoon activities, it's time for dinner. And then evenings include reflection and then fun. Vespers, which is a shorter, more intimate evening service, is offered nightly. One evening at both camps, there's a youth have an opportunity to lead the Vespers, and if you ever have a chance to have a service led by youth, it is the most raw and authentic worship I have ever experienced. These kids feel it, not to be missed. So after Vespers, you might head to the drum circle or down to the campus pub. There might be open mic going on, or maybe it's the talent show. There's also quiet spaces for board games and puzzles if you need a break. Parents often coordinate childcare amongst themselves so they can also take turns participating. When I registered for UMAC, about a week before the camp, I was invited to a Zoom call to learn about what camp would be like, but I was also taught a few dance moves. Night Owls, which is the adults-only gathering at the pub, would usually have music, and someone had choreographed a dance to the B-52's Rock Lobster, and I was expected to know it before going. I didn't have to participate, but they wanted me to be prepared and included if I chose to. It was ridiculous and joyful. I wish I had a clip to show you, but I could not get one. And then afterwards, musical chairs broke out, and musical chairs as an adult is absolutely cutthroat. So it was like being a kid back at camp again. The spirit of the beloved community knows how to have fun. At Cersei, several attendees were using mobility scooters, and this is Grandma Becky. She had an idea. This was the first time this summer after attending every year. They decorated their scooters, and they said they were going to have a race. They lined up on the quad, people took bets, and they raised money for the scholarship fund. So yes, there is a scholarship fund. How much does this all cost? Well, it depends. Is it your single room or is it double room, your meal choices, and so on? So for me, 1 week of room, board, workshops, programming is about $1,000. And my kids' programming was about $400 each. So not as affordable as camping, but far more enriching, and I never had to cook a single meal. So there is scholarship support during registration, and the registrar genuinely wants people to attend. Financial assistance is available. You can also lower costs through work study or volunteering to be an instructor. Camp is meant to be accessible, not a burden. So no matter your age or how long you've been a UU, camp is a place to explore. There's a balance of playfulness and depth. Like anything, you get out of it what you put into it. And here's what holds it all together. It's covenant. Because if you think that 400 people can come together for a week with no complaints or conflict, I admire your optimism. We're just all human. And the truth is, conflict does happen. It's usually not dramatic. It's small and human. Someone feels dismissed in a conversation. Someone takes up more space than they realize. A joke lands wrong. A parenting moment is judged. At camp, when that happens, covenant gives us the shared language. Instead of gossip, it's an invitation to check in. Instead of retreating, it's support for naming impact. Instead of you're wrong, the question becomes, how do we repair and stay in relationship? The goal is not perfection. The goal is returning again and again to our shared commitment of dignity, respect, and care. Let me see here. So I wanted to share with you today, I don't know if we can all see that. Can I make it bigger? Go like that. Is that better? Mm-hmm. Too big.
That's good.
Good?
You can go bigger.
Good? Okay, good. Great, thank you. So I wanted to share with you the covenant that Cersei uses. This is very extensive and I won't read through all of it. And I know the word covenant can be triggering for some folks in our congregation. But covenant is simply a shared agreement as to how we will be together. It sets the boundaries of the container, how we will live our principles, and how we will care for one another when conflict arises. So I just want to take a moment to look at the first section. We value the Summer Institute magic that we co-create for 1 week every year so that we promise to treat each individual and their gifts with gratitude, make space for the creative and unexpected delights that we might share with our community, offer a generosity of spirit to each other as we make mistakes or are disappointed. Because mistakes will be made. Disappointment may happen. But we're coming into this container with gratitude, an open heart, and generosity when that disappointment happens. It's the living practice of respecting the worth and dignity of every person. It's assuming good intent from others because they assume good intent from you. Can you imagine what it feels like to hold space like that together? Don't we all need more spaces like that? When we're in a space where we're accepted just as we are, you are welcome here just as you are. We can go deeper. We could become more vulnerable. And that is the magic of the lived experience of the Unitarian Universalist values. I had the pleasure of meeting one of the brightest souls on this entire planet at UMAC. Her name was Diane. And Diane was a queer woman who did not always feel accepted for who she was. She told me that UMAC was her happy place, the one space where she could simply just be. No labels, no judgment, just belonging. It's the one place in the whole world where I can just relax and be myself. When we're in this container of safety and acceptance, we expand our capacity for compassion. And I wanted to share a moment from one of the Vespers service. So one of the evenings for Vespers was dedicated as a memorial. The choir sang, the minister preached, and we were invited to speak the names of those we had lost and add a pinch of salt to the bowl of water as a symbol of our shared grief. So you'll see in this video, this is the sanctuary. Those banners are all the congregations that were up there. And I'm sitting right here. You can see AJ next to me in the green. He kind of slumps over in a second, but watch AJ as the man in the purple shirt comes forward.
Diane Krause, member of the UUMAC community for many years.
Joe Schaefer, Ann Osborne, and Bill Wilson from West Shore UU.
My mother, Edith Doe Ballard.
My father, Alan Williams France.
Dan O'Rourke from the Worcester Fellowship.
The UU Fellowship, Skip Nold and Lowell Steinbrenner.
Kent congregation member.
In what other community does a child support an adult who's not family? I am so proud of AJ. He saw someone else who also lost his father and was in need. And he showed care. But more than that, I'm grateful that he was in a space where this was possible. Camp encourages safe intergenerational connection. There was no barrier to this moment of shared humanity. The next day they were able to talk and have lunch together. It was a beautiful connection. The youth, they form very powerful bonds at camp. My friend Megan, who's a youth leader at UMAC, she told me that camp levels the playing field for youth. There's no labels, there's no cliques. Kids who go to the same school all year long and don't interact are best friends at camp, because the common thread isn't sports or theater, it's shared values. Everyone has inherent worth and dignity. The youth also have their own covenant. One of their rules, don't yuck someone's yum. What grosses me out might delight someone else, like country music. I don't know. The youth, they explore their faith through deeper questions. What does a free and responsible search for truth mean to you? How do you feel about the world? These are conversations that build empathy and connection, and they're asking deep questions and holding space for this shared experience. Just as the adults, they are deepening their faith through the lived experience of the UU values. Megan had shared this story with me from the Sophia Foz camp. There was a teen who once said, "This talent show is ridiculous. These UUs, they'll clap for anything." So he got up on stage and he stood there silently for like a full minute and looked at his watch, hands in his pockets, and that was it. He gets off the stage and the crowd erupted. And every year since, someone repeats this. He gets up on stage, does nothing but exist, and every year it gets the biggest applause. This has been happening since the 90s, because that's the spirit. You showed up, you belong. So that's just about everything you didn't ask for about UU Church Camp. This summer, I'll be attending the Sophia Foss camp with my boys. This was once a youth-only camp, but last year they brought in some adult programming, so I'm excited to join them. I've heard about Sophia Foss for years, so I'm really excited to go this year. If you're curious, there are camp listings on the UUA website. I do find their website to be a little bit of a mystery at times, so if you search camps, you will find a full listing. And if a full week feels like too much, there are weekend experiences like Mini-Mac. You still eat together, you still worship together, and yes, you might even learn the rock lobster dance. So right on time, it's just the past week. Let's see if I get that one. Yes. I just learned that Reverend Diane is inviting members of the Rock Tavern UU and the Poughkeepsie UU on a retreat at Star Island. This is a multi-gen conference that's going to be held in August, and this is Star Island is off the coast of New Hampshire. So that is the website if you want to snap it. You can also email Reverend Diane for more info. She did mention that some folks were carpooling. This particular service was canceled because of snow for a few times, so if you're interested in this, I wouldn't wait because the registration is going to close soon. At the end of the day, it's about connection. A magical container from where we unplug from the world and we live our shared values together. So whether you've ever attended a Unitarian Universalist camp or not, this is what I hope that you carry with you. That you are not alone. That you are part of something way larger than this room. A living, imperfect, courageous community practicing how to be human together. In a world that feels increasingly fragmented and uncertain, we are people who build containers of care. We practice showing up. We believe that presence, covenant, and compassion still matter. May we keep finding and creating spaces where we can relax into who we are, remember our shared values, and practice being the beloved community wherever we are.